All right,
Yes.
welcome back, everyone, to the Villain Viver podcast. Today, we're in the middle of season 5 of Villain Viver Get Shrek'd, where we're going to be covering episodes 4, 5, and 6, bringing us most of the way through our swap phases of this season.
Let's do some introductions. I guess, not to steal your thunder, Elk. I'm sorry. I just took
Go right
advantage
ahead.
of that silence. I am Gabriel. Hello.
Hi, everybody. It's Divine.
I'm Elk here.
Carlos.
And also along with us, when his microphone is working, is Carlos. But it sounds like his microphone's not working right now.
Yeah.
All right. So when we last recorded our podcast, we'd just gotten through the 3rd episode of the season. So at that point in time in the season, we'd gotten through the first 4 eliminations, and we commented that it was already shaping up to be a historically robbed pre-jury. And that's one of the headlines of the season going into these 3 episodes that we're going to be talking about today. Like, look at how historically robbed this pre-jury is.
Saved for one boot, but yes. Does that mean to say? I'm sorry.
Which boot do you think is not robbed?
Episode 5.
Well, we'll get there when we get there. I feel like that could be potentially some controversial opinions over who's robbed and who flopped on this season overall. But going into episode 4 of the season, we were at the final 14 at this point.
Yeah, was this wasn't, they swapped last episode. Yeah, they swapped last
Right, yeah.
episode.
We had already arrived into our 3 tribes of 5 at this point.
Yeah. So the challenge for this one was, oh my god, I love creative challenges. And this was a creative challenge, but they fucked it up on accident. So the challenge was they had to take a fairy tale and twist it somehow, rewrite it with a twist. And somehow they all chose Hansel and Gretel, which was insane. But someone from each tribe, except for one, posted and like revealed their fairy tale in their confessionals. One person from 2 of the tribes. But since they all chose Hansel and Gretel, they all had to redo it. So
in fact,
that's
I think it was almost like 4 or 5 people total even who said more than they were supposed to in a confessional. It was a ridiculous number of people, but
it was outrageous.
It was a little bit unfortunate that it ended up going that way, because I was really looking forward to seeing like the story of Hansel and Gretel as 2 earthworms. That seemed like a really interesting twist that unfortunately we were robbed of. But on the whole,
but also, I was just gonna say, I'm kind of glad that they got to like get off of that, so they all weren't just like doing the same thing. Like not doing the same thing, because obviously they were gonna make it different. Like they're different versions of the story, but it's like better if I feel like it was a little bit better that they got to like actually not all have the same, like, okay, we're gonna do Hansel and Gretel.
Also, hey guys, I'm Carlos. My Discord has been weird for the past half an hour. But I'm here.
But yeah, so the Aenoth tribe, which is always so strange to say, ended up doing a really fucked up version of the Ugly Duckling that was quite murderous. And my personal favorite out of all of them.
Same.
So they won first place. Yeah. And then the one that got second place, which was decided by Sierra because it was a tie, was Goobriella, and I forget the full title, but it was about a slug, and it was Rapunzel, a retelling of Rapunzel, and that was by the Cress tribe. And then the one that lost was the Nodyak tribe, and they did a King Midas story, which was Jaff's idea, and Jaff was really pissed off because it was his idea, but no one would listen to what he wanted to do about it. He wanted to change what the touch did, like the touch of gold, but everyone else was like, no, we're going to keep the touch of gold and we're just going to change the story. And he's like, fuck you guys. But yeah, so they lost because no one would listen to Jaff.
Honestly, yeah, that I don't know much about the story about King Midas, but like comparing to the other stories and everything, there was barely any change. They didn't put any twist. The thing about not changing the touch of gold, I think it's the biggest thing. I'm surprised they got so many votes not wanting to like say the story was bad. I mean, it was well written, but
yeah, they actually all did really well. And what's interesting about this challenge is all the work fell on like one person from each tribe. Like I think Jade did most of the work for her tribe. I don't remember who did most of the work for the other ones. Roman, maybe? And I want to say Jaff, but I don't remember. Yeah.
But that's also a little bit how these challenges tend to go, where the most creative person on the tribe ends up taking a lot of the lead, especially when they had to start over with about 6 hours to finish the challenge from the time they started over. Like, whoever's most creative and available.
Yeah, I remember now though. Jet did most of the writing for the Nodyak tribe. Yeah. Yeah.
Honestly, and that's probably better for their tribes. At least in my opinion, from what I've seen, because like if you have too many cooks in the kitchen, you might end up burning the food. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so then we go to tribal, where the Nodyak tribe is sent to tribal after losing the challenge, and it's interesting to see what happens here, because on the surface it looks like the OG Lilni tribe, which was the older tribe, is going to have the 3-2 numbers here. But Wims and Toaster had a little bit of bad blood with each other from OG tribes when Wims tried to throw Toaster under the bus in an attempt to save Jack all the way back in episode 1. And on top of that, Toaster has been hitting it off really well with Jaff from the OG Hadril tribe, the young tribe. And so it's basically going to come down to a point where Toaster just cannot work with Jet and Wims. And Jet and Wims realize this, and they're going to try to vote Toaster out. And Jet and Wims are expecting basically a clean 4-1 on Toaster. But Jaff is going to be loyal to Toaster. And effectively, this is a 2-2 vote with Ariana positioned in the middle. Ariana could easily have voted with either side here, and the entirety of this vote is going to come down to what Ariana wants to do.
Let's also not forget that in Toaster's confessionals, he was kind of like, I'm bored. I want to cause chaos. Very Uni-esque, you know, via season 4, or a la season 4.
I mean, is flipping on a tribe mate who tried to target you on your OG tribe during the swap, like, really just causing chaos, though? Like, well, that feels like a reasoned decision.
Right. No, I think like if you look at it objectively, there's strategy to it. But in his words, like, I don't think that he was thinking about it strategically. Like, I think he did it just for the hell of it. Like, I don't think he was like, oh, this girl is like out to get me, so I'm gonna flip on her before she can flip on me. I think he was like, I want to spice up the game. Like, that's genuinely what I think he was thinking.
I mean, but that comment, like, made in confessionals could honestly just have been both. Like, it could have been like, okay, this person was, messing with me, messing with my game. Like, I'm going to do something. But at the same time, probably it's not that big of a deal right now. You have those moments where it's like, okay, I don't need to deal with that right now. But also, I'm bored. So maybe I will cause the chaos. Like, maybe at a different point in time, me making this move might help my game a little bit more. And maybe me making the move right now might hurt my game, but I'm bored. So why not just be chaotic? So I feel like it could have been both.
Well, why wouldn't he go after Wims in this scenario? Jet didn't do anything to him. Wims did.
Agents of Chaos have
I
have
mean,
weird
Jet and
ways.
Wims are a duo there. Whichever of the two you decide to take out, like, you're flipping on that duo. Like, if you think that Jet is an easier vote to get Jaff and Ariana to do, then that's your choice.
Right, but like none of it makes sense to me because no one liked Wims in the game, and that sounds very mean. Like Wims is a lovely person. I think that everyone liked her on a personal level, but on game wise, no one wanted to work with Wims. Wims was the ugly duckling. The only person who was willing to give Wims a shot was Jet. No one from the young tribe, no one from the old tribe wanted to work with Wims. So she was obviously the easier vote. So I don't understand why that's why I think there was no strategy to Toaster's decision. I think he just said, fuck it. I want to, and then the next day he was like, I was just having a bad day and I feel guilty about it, but I already locked my vote and I wish I hadn't. Like there was no strategy to it. And that's my opinion.
Yeah. And while this happens, like over on the Krez tribe too, like Roman is figuring out basically what's going to be going on here. Like Roman knows ahead of time, like that Jet and Wims are the duo, that that something's going to happen here. Like Roman basically has the result of this tribal pegged just from knowing what she knows about the people in the game. Roman basically figures out exactly what's going to happen.
Right, which solidifies Roman as a power player even more than she already was.
Exactly. So as this happens, then Jet goes out. It's a 3-2 vote. Ariana really is the deciding vote here, even if Toaster being on the other side of the vote also would have changed it. I feel like ultimately it came down to what Ariana wanted to do, and Ariana wanted to vote Jet, which basically left Wims completely on an island, dead to rights if Nadjet goes back to tribal again.
I do want to say about what's interesting about this vote is I think that this sets Jaff and Toaster up to be a potential duo later on because they actually have similar personalities. They're both a little weird. Like that's me knowing Jaff personally and then me like seeing how Toaster acts. Like they just have similar personalities. And so I think that they would like get along on a personal level, which makes me think that they would want to work together. And yeah, so I can see them trying to like be an F2 or something. And that's really
Absolutely see
interesting
them
because
trying for it.
like people are only using Toaster, but I think Jaff wants to genuinely be his ally, and he's the first person to actually want to genuinely work with Toaster and not just use him.
I mean, Toaster is also kind of set up to get just like brutally blindsided at some point, probably in the early to mid merge.
Oh, he's you weren't here for season 2, but he reminds me a lot of Ribbit. Ribbit was being used so hard by Mark, and it was Ribbit's first org. I think this is Toaster's first org. It's his first or his second. And Ribbit was like being used, and Ribbit thought that he was running the game and shit. And then he got fucking completely blindsided at F7. And that's how he went out.
Yeah.
And I think the same thing is going to happen to Toaster.
That's almost exactly where I expect Toaster to go to. I think Toaster's going to be right in that like 6th, 7th, 8th kind of range.
Yeah.
Which could honestly be good if Toaster could just get himself into a position where it's like, you know, you have those certain types of players where if you smarten up enough, then you can get yourself out of those positions where people are playing you and instead you end up playing them. You could easily wiggle yourself into a middle ground there. I don't know if Toaster has the ability to do it, but I think that's something that I would absolutely love to see.
For sure.
Him.
Also,
like
while we're
I was
Go ahead.
I was just saying Roman was coaching Toaster early on in the game. So like if Toaster actually listens to her, because she was giving like solid advice, and Roman has like won before, like she's a good player, and we can see that she's a good player. So if he listens to her, I think he could absolutely do what Divine is saying.
Yeah. We'll see if he smartens up. I mean, I feel like that's gonna be a fun arc to watch. Like,
Yeah.
even if Toaster ends up flopping, it's like that'll be a fun arc to watch. I think.
I also want to have like a momentary Jet appreciation corner because
Yes.
Jet's confessional has been one of the best confessionals in this season by a lot. Like Jet has this crazy whole little journal thing going that's really cool. It's very like in character written. Jet has been trying so hard in his confessional, and I love it. Like Jet is a better character and more fun presence on the season just for that alone. Like even if nothing else is
Yeah.
interesting, and there's a lot more interesting than just that too. And Jet's like final confessional and everything. Well, final confessional while he was still in the game, because he's even kept doing his confessional from the pre-jury. But his final confessional from the game about like this is the price of liking everyone, not wanting to vote anyone out, like that whole thing, that was just, it was beautiful on a
Mhm.
level we don't usually see in a game like this.
Yeah, and you said best confessional of the season. No, this is the best confessional I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Like
This-
this confessional, like I pride myself on my confessional ability. Though this confessional puts me to shame. I don't care. There's the whole lore to it and everything, and that's something. It's like a book. It's like he's writing a book every time he goes to confess.
As
Jet
someone who
is
does role play a lot, seeing Jet going like this on the confessionals just brought a smile to my face.
Well, he comes from the role playing community. That's how he got into orgs. So he said that he wanted to he stopped role playing, but he didn't want to like lose that part because of like his life, because he had so much fun with it. So he has brought it over to orgs, and I just think that's so cute.
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
amazing.
it's like,
I'm so happy that like we got that energy in our season.
And I love that he's like continuing to do it from pre-jury. Like that's so cute. All right, we can probably
Like the pre-jury confessionals are low key a little bit more entertaining than some of the people who are like actually in the game right now. But I'm moving on.
So now we're going to move on to what's probably a contender for the most controversial episode of the season.
know it.
Okay.
Okay.
Not because of the tribal, because of the challenge.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
So this is episode 5. So we're still in 3 tribes. The tribes are now 5, 4, and 4, and the tribes have to give wrong descriptions of everything. You literally are not allowed to say anything that is accurate at all. And to most of the contestants' dismay, yes, a single correct pronoun will invalidate your answer. Sorry. Some people would say that, like, I think I remember one person even commenting afterwards that, like, they felt like even when they were giving wrong answers, they should still be respectful enough to use correct pronouns, even when they were making things up. And I can understand that perspective, and I think that that's one of the things that makes a challenge like this kind of tricky, because, like, where do you draw the line, like, as the contestant? Now, those who just stuck to the fairly safe strategy of, like, using the proper noun version of the things they were supposed to describe when giving completely wrong answers, like, so they didn't have to worry about that part of it, just, Aladdin is a blah, 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 blah in their wrong answers, tended to be, like, one of the more effective ways to do it. And some people wrote some crazy off the wall answers during this that were low-key hilarious.
Yeah, I think Mali he said it better. Actually, I wish that was the title of the episode.
I know. I was just thinking that.
When Mali said, "You misgendered people all season, and in the only challenge, and the challenge you could misgender, you don't misgender." I'm paraphrasing, but Molly said that, and I was floored. I think it was one of the funniest things I read the whole season
No,
so
but
far.
yeah, he has a point. I literally had to threaten them with strikes to get them to stop misgendering each other. And then the one time where I'm like, all right, you guys have to misgender fake characters, fictional characters. They're like, no, I'm going to be respectful. What? Are you joking right now? I couldn't believe it.
And then we also had a couple of like do not finishes and DQs and stuff in that challenge with Regina and Nimki and Jaff, all for different reasons, getting DQ'd. And then some other people just really struggling with the challenge, like Roman and Looking and Wims, all got like -17 or worse. So basically, every tribe had 2 people completely flop this challenge, whether it was by not doing it at all or just by getting points taken off on almost every single answer. And in the end, the Einoff tribe is the tribe that's going to end up going to tribal here, which at this point consists of Iris, Looking, Nay, and Nimki.
Wait, I do want to take a second to point out and congratulate the people who got 100% on the challenge: Ariana, Tara, and Iris. They got 10 out of 10.
Ooh, claps. Claps, claps,
Yeah.
claps.
So every
Claps.
tribe had 1 perfect score, 1 DNF, and 1 -17 or worse. And it was just that fourth and fifth scores that made the difference, really.
I actually want to comment on the Tara thing before we move on to the tribal, because Tara was fuming in the confessional, because I actually am siding with her. Even it's not because she is in my good list as a winner and like winner pick on anything, but she was like, was such an easy challenge, just say stuff wrong, and so many people struggled, but because she got a perfect score, all of a sudden she was a threat. A lot of people were like, oh, she's a comp beast, she's a comp beast. I'm like, but she did a perfect score because it was an easy challenge, and her getting target because of that, I was like, wow, it just feels so weird. And like, you know, she was
I mean,
feeling her confessional because of that, and I don't blame her.
who gets a reputation for being a comp beast and who doesn't seems very arbitrary most of the time, because in a lot of these situations, like, someone will win a completely luck-based challenge or win a challenge in like a 6-way tie or something, and all of a sudden they're labeled a comp beast when they narrowly eked out some sort of challenge win in a challenge that anyone could win, and like all of a sudden you're a comp beast. Like, it does seem very arbitrary a lot of the time.
Also, I think that's because wasn't with Tara that there were other comments like calling her a comp beast on other challenge? Wasn't there like a discussion that we had? Like, I think was it last episode? I don't remember, but yeah, I think it's also coming from other challenges. Someone called her a comp beast, and then this challenge happened, and guess kind of solidified that, even though it was like, in my opinion, the easiest challenge of the
That's
season
fair.
so far.
Like, Tara did do extremely well on that F17 individual challenge. I believe
She
that
won.
she was the
She won.
only one on the Young's tribe to get all 3 correct, and
Yeah.
she also had a faster time than almost anyone else on either tribe, in addition to being one of the only ones to get everything correct.
Also, she won
So
immunity on F17, so I
she
think
was
that's
immune
where
at
it came
17,
from.
and I believe she was the only person on the Young tribe to get all 3 right, and she was the fastest time in the entire game.
Yeah, I think so.
So, I mean, like, there's a little bit of a reason to think that at least where word-based things are concerned, like, Tara is probably in decent shape challenge-wise, but also this isn't some, like, overwhelming, you'll never touch her after F7 kind of challenge beast. Like, this is just yeah, she's good at some challenges.
Right. And we have like a good variety of challenges where it's like, just because she's good at word challenges doesn't mean that she's going to dominate the season, because we don't have now. I mean, I will, like, this is kind of a spoiler, but not really. This is like a season that's a little heavy with word challenges, but like, it's not, we also have a decent variety, you know? It's like, she's not going to like dominate the whole season, you know? So, but
I mean, you
something
never
that I
know.
wanted to mention, I think it's so funny that Mally said straight to her face that she was a comp beast, and he thought that he was complimenting her. Fucking dumbass, bro. Why would you say that?
Yeah, that was.
And then he's
That
like,
was a
why does
choice.
she not like me? Bro, like,
Was that the thing that sparkled the rant about copies on her
yeah, I
confessional?
think it was.
Oh
Um,
God.
so with that particularly, we'll just call it aggression causing challenge complete. Then we go to tribal, and this tribal was anything but tense.
Yeah.
By which I mean to say that the 3 tribe mates had all locked their votes for Nimki, like before Nimki even got to talk to anyone about the vote. Like it was
Now,
it was basically a don't let the door hit you on the way out tribal.
Yeah.
which, I mean, part of the reason is because Nimki didn't participate in the challenge, and Nimki had a habit of not participating in challenges and using the excuse, I'm 14, to not participate in challenges, which I don't understand as an excuse.
So why
Um,
participate in the season at all?
Yeah, I don't understand why being 14 means that you can't participate in challenges. But I mean, that's the excuse that they used. But yeah, I think that that's part of the reason why. But also, like, you have Nay, you have Iris, and you have Looking, right? Was the other person on this tribe?
Yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, you have Nay, who wanted to keep Nimki because Nay and Nimki were close from the double tribal. And during this tribal, Nay actually, we saw in a screenshot that Nay went to Nimki and was like, I will buy an extra vote and make sure that you stay. But then Nimki was like, I'm sorry. Nay, but then Nimki was like, well, I voted for you and I locked it. And Nay was like, well, why would you do that? And Nimki was like, well, because you're like the biggest threat. And Nay was like, well, I can't help you if you voted for me. Like Nimki just showed no strategy whatsoever. Like, why would you not go to your number one on the tribe and try to help yourself? Like, why would you vote your number? I just don't understand. I mean, I guess like you just figure you're going out, so why not? But if I'm going out and I know that there's nothing to save me, I'm not going to vote my number one out of respect.
Yeah.
Like, I'm
Yeah,
going to vote for one
Nimki
that I
just
don't care
did
about.
not really put up much of a fight in that tribal, like, at all.
Like, they could have saved themselves. That's the insane part. They could have sent Looking home, or Iris, but probably Looking. Like, Nay was fully on board to do that and risk her game to do that. I don't think she was bluffing. I think she was serious.
Yeah. And on the subject of advantages too, this is the episode where like a lot of the advantage chaos starts happening.
Was it? I didn't put it in the episode recap because because I thought that the episode that it happened next episode.
It happens in episode 6, and I'm so ready to talk about it.
So let's start talking about the advantage chaos, because over the course of these episodes 5 and 6 collectively, there's a lot going on in our little shop.
Yeah.
It started off like slowly. And well, not even, I don't even know if you could call it slow, because it just started off with Roman, I believe. and Roman came in the shop and bought an extra vote and a safety without power. I think those are like the first two things.
No.
What'd you say?
No, that's not how it started. The first thing
So,
ever
well-
that was bought was an idol.
Yeah, so Molly gives coins to
Oh
Jade,
yeah.
and while Molly is giving coins to Jade, Regina is also going around asking people for coins. Which, given Regina's history with asking people for search system stuff in our speed,
Oh my
like
God, I
not even a
forgot
month
that.
ago, this is like quite the choice for Regina to be making, because Regina asking for shards in that is one of the main reasons that they got voted out of this feed. So yeah, Regina, that's definitely a choice to be making. But Regina and Tara end up giving Jade a bunch of coins to the point where Jade is able to buy an idol and a safety without power within a few hours of each other.
Elk, real quick, I just want to point out Jade got so lucky because they, in their alliance chat, they pancaked who would get all the coins from all three of the girls and who would buy the idol. And it just so happened to land on Jade. And Jade had already bought the idol, so she didn't have any coins to give to the girls if it landed on one of the other ones. So Jade got fucking lucky as hell. And I just wanted to point that out.
Yeah, exactly. That was one of the crazy moments there too. Is they pancake for it while Jade has secretly already bought it, and Jade does not completely trust Regina, and like is saying in her confessional, like, if it lands on Regina, I'm not giving her my coins.
And Tara is like really
Um,
skeptical of Jade at this point too. She's like, I'm pretty sure Tara is already like, I think Jade might have already bought something. Like, I think Jade like Tara does not believe. Tara's like, I can't believe Jade isn't gonna like give us her coins. Like, Tara is not having it.
Yeah, and so then we get to the so the idol comes, and now this idol is a half idol, which means that this idol is separated into two halves, and one half has to be given to someone else, and then you can play the half idols to cancel some of the votes against you, or if you recombine the idols, you get one regular idol back. And so Jade has a choice here, and Jade decides to give the half of the idol not to Regina, not to Tara, but to Molly.
And this is because she thinks that
which-
he'll give it back to her.
Yeah. I think that's an interesting choice. Do you think that that's the right choice for Jade here, choosing Molly as the person to give the other half to?
I do think it is, because it gains, I think it, well, first of all, I feel like it sets her up to be the villain of the season really well. I can't explain why, but I think she's going to make a villainous move with it. But also I think that it gains her trust with Molly even more than she already had before. And I think Molly is very loyal, and I don't think he's going to tell anyone about it. Whereas Tara or Regina absolutely would. Molly's the perfect person.
See, I think that's interesting. I would have thought that in Jade's shoes, the best choice here is just like completely reaffirming the trust with Tara and basically trying to make sure that Tara isn't going to turn on you. And so saying like, look, like we have this thing together, like we have this shared secret, like let's not turn on each other, because I feel like Tara is starting to slip away from Jade. And if Tara and Jade end up having a civil war down the road, that could easily be the end for Jade. And so I would say using the half idol to like prove your loyalty to Tara and bring Tara back in would have also been a really interesting choice for Jade.
Yeah, but people don't like people like Jade more than they like Tara, so Tara would be gone before Jade is. Like Jade has more charisma than Tara does, so Jade could talk herself out of the situation, whereas Tara could not. Like, people would think Tara is lying and Jade is telling the truth.
People also have extremely mixed feelings about Tara.
That's what I'm saying. And
Yeah,
it
that's
leans
fair.
more on the negative side.
Yeah.
Whereas people, yeah.
So then,
Sorry, go ahead.
So just continuing with the advantages there. Then Looking gives some coins to Jade. Meanwhile, Iris goes and buys the first of the extra votes.
Iris,
Jade,
sorry, I just want to
with
point out, Iris does this as a test. I think at first Iris tried to buy, I don't remember for sure, but I think she tried to buy a safety without power and realized that it was gone. It was either her or Roman.
that's
Roman did
Roman.
that. Okay,
Roman does
did
that.
Well, then
Yeah.
Iris just bought an extra vote. Okay.
Yeah. So Iris buys the extra vote, and then Jade, now with her abundance of coins. I mean, Jade gets up to a total of 80 coins by the end of this episode. Like
Yeah.
80 coins that will all end up getting spent here as of the time that Jade buys the safety without power advantage. And Jade and Roman are having a conversation, and Roman starts to get very suspicious. In part because Jade knows exactly what a legacy is, but claims not to know what a safety without power is. And at least in Roman's perspective, like, a legacy is a much rarer advantage than a safety without power. So, like,
Which it
Jade
is.
claiming not to know what safety without power is comes off very, very suspicious.
Right, which I agree.
I mean, technically, like, if you're a chronological Survivor watcher, like, the legacy will come into play before the safety without power does. So, like, in that sense, I can understand why people could know one without knowing the other, like, depending on which seasons they've seen and haven't seen. But I feel like Org World has come to love safety without power much more than it came to love the legacy.
Right.
Yeah, I see legacies a whole lot less than a safety without power.
Jade also, proving her status as the villain of the season, immediately runs to confessional and begins scheming about things like playing the safety without power on someone else involuntarily to get a majority from a previously 50-50 split tribal. Like, Jade's wheels are spinning at every moment in this game, and I just want to watch those wheels spin.
Which I want to point out, we haven't talked about if that's allowed or not. We haven't talked about that, but it is interesting to see her on scheme about it.
It's amazing to watch her scheme about it.
Sorry.
No,
I was
go
going
ahead.
to say, she is one of the most devious villains we have ever had. Like, the villains that we've had in the past, like J-Ro and Mark, and I forget who the villain was for season... Who was the villain for season 3?
I think it was Dan got the villain.
Dan. Yeah. Yeah, and I forget who it was season 1. Season 1 is so fucking irrelevant. But all of them have just been kind of bitchy, like those kinds of villains, like Abby Maria kind of villains. Whereas Jade is like a true, like a Todd from China villain. Like, and I love it. Like, Jade is what we created Villain Viber for.
But can we also talk a little bit about Roman's villain edit, though?
You think so?
I
think Roman's just a paranoid mess. Like, I don't think Roman's a villain.
I don't know. Because what I'm talking about specifically, which I don't know, maybe you see it as more so paranoid, but I feel like there is very much so villain in there, and that would get me more into the later mess of the advantage craziness. So after, what did we just talk about? So Jade bought the safety without power. Roman tried to see if it was gone, whatever. And then Jaff bought an idol. He bought the regular idol. And then we get to Roman, who is the last to buy an idol, which is essentially the final idol besides the half idol. And it's the pass around. And so Roman buys the pass around idol. Around the same time, Toaster buys an extra vote and then gives Roman 5 coins. And then Nay buys the legacy advantage. But what Roman did with this pass around idol was that Roman passed the idol to Whims. That gave it like one
Wait,
pass around and two
Arm,
negated
you
votes.
should explain how it works first.
Oh, right. Okay. So the pass around idol essentially is that when you, if you pass it to another person, it gains one negated vote. So if I myself obtain the idol, it has one negated vote total because one person has held it. If I then pass it to Gabriel, it has two negated votes because two people have held it, and so on and so forth. However, if it comes back to an original holder, then it doesn't add on a negated vote. It just is how many people in total have had it. I think that I explained that well.
That makes sense.
So
So it's the number of distinct people who have had it is the number of
yes,
votes that it negates.
yes, thank you. So Roman gets the pass around title, and once Roman gets the pass around idol, Roman makes an alliance with. There's one alliance where there's Roman, Nay, and Toaster, and then there's another alliance where it's Roman, Nay, Toaster, and Whims. So in the alliance with just Roman, Nay, and Toaster, Roman is like, okay, I just told you both about this idol that I got, and we're gonna use Whims to pass it around and give it more power. And then in the alliance chat with Whims, Roman's like, okay, yeah, Jade just cursed me. And so, like, for us to not be cursed, we have to pass this around and, like, make it a complete circle. Which, honestly, I feel like dropped the ball on Whim's part for believing it. It didn't sound logical at all, especially when you got the message of what the idol was. It literally says, hey, this is a pass around idol. The more you pass it, the more power it gains. And the fact that Wims just didn't catch on to that really blew my mind. But whatever.
Also, what do you do at that point? Like, you get a pass around idol at a point when it would negate 2 votes, and if you suspect that the fix is in, like, wow, now you're going out 3-1 instead of 5-1. Like, there's not a whole lot Wims can do in that spot.
I mean, but you could try. Like, you could at least hold on to it. Like, I felt like there was something that Wims could have done. I don't know exactly what, but to just have been, I felt like Wims was just so, like, oblivious to it, and I was so disappointed. I was so disappointed. But okay, so Roman passes the idol to Wims, and Wims gives the idol to Nay. Nay gives the idol to Toaster, and then Toaster passes the idol back around to Roman. So Roman now has an idol that will negate 4 votes. And I don't know, that whole thing, that whole, like, the scheming of that, I feel like was very much so well thought out. And then at the tribal, literally later that day, they just voted Wims out.
I mean, it was a villainous move, yes, but I don't think it makes Roman a villain.
No. I'm not saying it necessarily like fully makes Roman a villain, but I'm saying I'm seeing like those small things can create a real big villainous arc, because that wasn't like a small thing to do. That was not a small thing to do. Roman literally asked all the questions, specified exactly how it could be used, and strategized for Wims specifically to be part of that pass around, and then vote her out. Literally used Wims to gain power.
It was also potentially really fucking stupid. Like,
that's also true.
High risk, high reward.
That is also true. I feel like, because if Wims would have caught on, or even if Nay and Toaster were like, nah, bro, you don't get this, like, easily Toaster could have taken that, because it wasn't going to gain any more votes by being passed back to Roman. Toaster could have taken that idol and just had the four negated votes for himself.
right. Yeah, but Toaster is such a sheep. He's not going to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, if Chaotic Toaster woke up and was like, hey, I just want to cause
If he had a
chaos today,
bad
he absolutely
day,
could
he
have.
might have. But
This was
But
the
then
moment. Yeah, chaotic.
that would have also been a great arc to see from Toaster and be like, okay, you're actually gonna do something for yourself. And then we would have had to see what Roman did when like the going actually got tough.
Right. I would have loved to see it backfire on Roman, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
It's like she's had the
It would have been
game
very
handed to
interesting
her
if it
so
did.
far. Like,
Yeah, Roman's like, I know you're talking about like Jade's game and stuff. Roman and Jade, I feel like their social games are just like stupid top tier.
no, I wouldn't say
I
that
feel
about
like-
Roman, because a lot of people are like, Roman is hard to talk to. Roman doesn't talk to me. Like, I wouldn't say Roman.
Yeah, but I say that because I feel like every day I'm going back and being to Roman and Jade like, oh, you've been given some coins.
Yeah, that's true.
Also, one more thing that we didn't mention, right in the moments leading up to the swap that happens here, that Jade does go and confess to Roman that she has the safety without power right at the last moment before they swap.
Yeah, I remember that. The
Oh, yeah.
reaction.
So that's an interesting choice too. I mean, granted, like Roman definitely already suspected it, and Roman and Jade are about to end up on opposite sides of this swap. So like you want your ally to have that information, like so they don't get more and more suspicious of you when you're going to be spending some time apart. Like I think that was probably the right call,
And
but that's an interesting call to make.
I mean, it's because like Jade thought that it's because she thought that they were allies, but Roman does not see them as allies at all. Roman sees them as enemies.
Well, you're only
I
going
can
to make
see
that worse if you
I
don't
mean,
say
that's
it.
true, but I mean, Roman is like, we've seen it. We saw it in this in that episode that Roman has went and told everyone about the safety without power. Like it's backfired on Jade, but it not really. Well, I don't know, because here's the thing about Jade's advantages, and I don't know if this is like good gameplay or not. I can't figure it out. Half the people think she has an idol, and half the people think she has a safety without power. So I don't know if people are going to be like, it's one or the other, or if they're going to be like, it's both.
Either way, that could easily set her up for a cute little blindside.
Nah, I think she's smart enough
Oh,
to know
for
when
sure.
to play them. I think she is.
I mean, you might think that you're smart enough, but then at the end of the day, if people are like, you know what, I don't know what you have, but I think it's either an idol or a safety without power. If they're smart enough, like let's be honest, org players aren't smart all the time. Let's just keep it real. So if they're smart enough and like sly enough, slick enough, then they could probably do it. But I don't know. All I know is that I would absolutely, well, not would, because it's already happening, but I'm gonna love watching like a nice little Jade versus Roman rivalry.
Yes.
That sounds like good TV right there.
On the topic of Jade, in an effort to build some trust, Iris did tell Jade about her extra vote, and so Jade told Iris about her safety without power. But Jade sees right through Iris's social game. She sees how hard Jade frequently calls Iris a sweat, which means a tryhard. Which Iris is. I mean, she is. I love it and I love her, but she is. Like, she probably tries the hardest out of anyone in this cast, which is a good thing. I love it, and I'm the same way. But yeah, like Iris like thinks that she's like so like suave and like undetectable, but Jade sees right through it, which is so funny. Yeah, and then the last thing that I see in our episode tracking channel is that Tara has never been at a tribal that she has been eligible to be voted at. She's only been to one tribal ever, which was the Joint.
And that's gonna continue here at the final 12 in episode 6. So we have the telephone challenge. And in the telephone challenge, basically they have to give 3 clues to a word, Then you guess that word and give 3 new clues to that word, not allowed to repeat previous clues. And you have to keep the original words as guessable for your tribe mates for as many rounds as possible. And in short, the Ukiopan tribe absolutely destroys the Garminch tribe. It's not especially close at all. It's like 6-3 or something like that. And basically, like, Ukiopan is just much better at this challenge. And that's going to lead us to that tribe where, like, we go to tribal, and one of the questions at tribal is, like, are you sticking by original tribe lines here or something to that effect? And there are, 4 members from the original Lililni, the old tribe, and 2 members from Hadril, the young tribe. And this has to be the most heartbreaking confessional of the season, when Wims goes into tribal and basically, like, tries to say, oh, maybe we're playing by tribe lines, and then goes to her confessional and proudly says something along the lines of, oh, I'm lying so hard, like, I'm acting like we're not playing by old versus young tribe lines, but we are. And meanwhile, the entire rest of the tribe is getting ready to 5-1 Wims. It's like, oh, that was just heartbreaking to read in Wims's conf.
Yeah, the vibe around the Villain Viber server was quite melancholy, because we all knew what was coming, and we all knew it even, like, before challenge results were released. We knew if they went to tribal what was going to happen, but she had no idea. They being Wims, was very just oblivious to what was going to happen. And partially because they were sick, but partially because, I don't know, they just have such a good heart. I don't know. Like, it was so sad. It was so sad.
No, I love Wim so much. I went, okay, as sad as I am, I'm also just like, babe, you kind of screwed yourself a little bit. Like, I was sad, and also just like the delusion was there, but I love Wim. I had very mixed emotions on that.
I mean, this vote out was a ticking time bomb. We knew it was a matter of time. Like, there was no chance she was making it to merge. And if she did make it to merge, she wasn't making it very far. Like,
yeah, it's been like almost since the first episode. I've seen people like Wims for like so many bottom trust ranks. It was just a matter of time. I'm actually surprised they lasted this long.
Yeah, honestly, me too.
I'm honestly like so surprised that Wims was at the bottom of so many trust rankings. Like, I don't know, obviously, because like I'm not in the game, but like just on like a more so like knowing Wims, like, and the type of person that she is, I don't know, it just like shocked me that people were just not like clicking with her.
Well, I don't think it was that.
I mean, she ultimately just got a little bit of a reputation for being kind of schemy, all because she tried to save Jack, and like that just, she couldn't escape the reputation of being seen as kind of schemy for one episode when she was trying to save someone who she wanted to save.
Yeah, like, I think people liked her on a personal level. Although they did comment that she was a bit inactive, and I don't think it was that she was inactive. I think it was time zones. But it was the old tribe talked shit about her, not personally, but like on a game level. They like were telling people that she couldn't be trusted and that she was schemy and that she was a rat. They didn't say that, but you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So, and then the young people are like, oh, well, here's an easy target. Like, the grandparents are gonna fucking turn on her, so let's turn on her too. So obviously, you know,
that must have sucked though. And you know, that also kind of is annoying too, because like, would you not fight to save somebody that you wanted to save? Like, maybe she fought too hard too early. Okay, fine. But like, come on now. Like, grow up.
She fought to save him because he was getting voted out for going to a funeral. Like, can we remember that part?
Exactly.
Can we keep that in mind?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's like on the list of reasons to have been seen as a schemy player, like that's not one of the better ones.
If anything, she's probably the most wholesome
Right?
player on the tribe for that sole
Oh
reason.
my god, I don't trust Wims because she tried to defend someone that went to a funeral. I'm going to put her on my bottom of my trust rankings. That's
Honestly, Wims,
And it just goes to show like how reputations build like even when they start from
yeah.
nothing. Like confirmation bias is a thing.
Honestly, Wims might win hero for that shit. I can see it.
Yeah.
I can see it.
Honestly,
think-
Wims for hero, the rest of the entire cast for villain.
the entire. What was the tribe? The one that had Jack.
Lolini.
The entire Lini tribe as a villain. Just for example.
Exactly.
All right. And I think that's the last thing from episode 6, unless we have any other episode 6 things to go for.
I don't have anything.
So looking ahead at this point in the season, as of the end of episode 6, there's 11 people left in the game. According to our official Edgic department, Roman, Nay, Jaff, and Jade, in that order, are our current top 4 contenders. How does the rest of our podcast crew feel about those contenders? Do you think those are the 4 people who are most likely to win at this point?
Quick note, just like right before Edgic discussion, I just remembered like the fact that Nay got the legacy advantage, and I am quite looking forward to how she's going to use that, because I feel like I feel like, okay, yes, she is in that power position right now, and is like a contender right now. However, I'm wondering if she'll be able to keep that up as long as she needs to. So like, because with this not safety without power, with this legacy advantage, so she now knows that we swap at 10, and she gets to use that advantage to be immune at either the merge tribal or the final 6 tribal. And so I feel like maybe she could survive the merge tribal, but I'm wondering if she'll be able to keep herself, as shielded as need be to make it to that final 6 tribal, and then just be able to use it even like just because, even if she's not in danger. That's all I had to say on that.
No, that is interesting to see whether she'll be able to pull that off.
I just want to point out we should not have done 3 legacy advantages.
Well, the thing with them is that like you got to be the first one to play it, because once one legacy advantage is played, no more can be
Is that
played.
included in the write-up that we send to the contestants?
It is.
Yeah, it is. And the only person who has one presently is Nay.
Okay.
So, we'll see what happens if somebody else does end up buying one. That will surely be a fun time.
Interesting.
Maybe one last thing that we can talk about, although we discussed already, kinda, is the robbed or flopped. We can talk like we did last time. We can give our perspective on robbed or flopped for each one.
Okay.
So Jet is the first of our 3 from this podcast. I would say Jet leans definitely towards the robbed side.
Jet is absolutely robbed. Are you lean? Jet is 100% robbed. Are you fucking kidding me? He got voted out because Toaster was having a bad day.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay.
He voted out the guy going to a funeral.
It's like Joker said, it only takes one bad day.
Yeah, like I mean, I would say that Jet got voted out in part because like his number one ally was someone that other people didn't trust. But at the same time, like he got voted out before Wims when Wims was the one people didn't trust. So like, yeah, it definitely is a lot more on the robbed side for sure.
Also, before we move on to Nimki, just want to point out on the last one, we had David like literally split in the middle. I think there was a point that it was like 6-6. Now we have David as flopped and also 6-9, even though it's actually 58 because 5-8 because the first one doesn't count. What do you guys think of that?
Yeah, I think David like definitely contributed to his own downfall. So like I can see that one going either way in that he didn't always have to go out the way he went out, but at the same time, like he contributed to his own downfall. He kind of did it to himself. So
Yeah, I think last time I also said that if I could vote, I would have voted for flopped. Because yeah, I'm the one that putting the emotes, so I don't vote.
so then we get to Nimki, and I'm pretty sure Nimki is like very much on the flopped side of this because honestly, like Nimki's game this season, for as hyped up as Nimki was coming into the season by some of the people who've seen Nimki play elsewhere, I don't think we really got the peak Nimki experience in this season.
No, instead we got someone who said, I can't do challenges because I'm 14. What does that even mean? Like, can someone explain that to me? Like, I'm confused.
If it was a challenge like you can only participate if you are you are not
Yeah,
underage.
our challenges are not Six Flags roller coasters. We don't have a "you must be this old to enter" sign.
They said it like we just told everybody, yeah, your challenge is to go get the drunkest.
You have to like take 6 edibles. Like,
right.
You have to go and drive yourself to this place and record just because 14 is also it's under the age of driving.
yeah, Nimki was a flop.
Yeah. I think pretty much everyone like the voting has been pretty like spot on for everyone.
And then we get to Wims for Robbed or Flopped. Now, Wims is an interesting conversation here because Wims like was on the outs and in danger at quite a few points in this game. So on the one hand, like saying that Wims is robbed when Wims was likely not making it much further than she did under a lot of different configurations. I'm not quite sure if it fits, but Wims didn't really flop either. Like Wims just got a bad reputation that spiraled out of control and honestly got just about the worst second swap she could have possibly asked for. And so like neither Robbed nor flopped really describes Wims especially well in this season. Like I feel like Wims sort of defies the dichotomy between robbed and flopped here.
I think
Yeah,
I
I
would
agree
just
with
lean
that.
towards robbed. I mean, I agree. I'm actually surprised that Wims is the one that is not divided. It was David's. But I think I'm only leaning a little bit, and also this is a bit of a like a I don't know bias. I don't think it's a bias, but um, towards Rob because of the whole Jack thing at the first one, and that is the like the thing that sparked the mistrust. I think because such a thing, such a like a wow, a person cared for someone that went to a funeral, like defended them. That's how that person gets so mistrusted, and like this is how it became downhill. If you know what I mean, I think that's what would make me lean towards robbed because that's what made everything until this elimination.
Yeah, I disagree with Elk and I agree with Carlos because Wims's entire experience in this game was robbed by that first vote just because I don't think that it was her fault. I think it was everyone else's fault, which to me is the definition of a robbed player. If you didn't go out due to anything that was your fault. So to me, that's what.
Exactly, like Jack, it wasn't his fault and he got voted out.
You know, like if we're using robbed just in the sense of whether it's your fault or not, then like Wims is definitely robbed. Like the only reason I hesitated to say robbed and the reason like I'm saying neither fits is just that like by the point in the game that Wims went out, like it was going to be almost impossible for her to survive like much longer without just being immune.
Yeah, I mean, I see what you're saying. I think it comes down to different definitions of robbed.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
fair.
Mm-hmm.
What's next?
All right. So there's two questions here about the winners of the season. So the first question is, who do you think the most exciting winner? Like if this person wins the season, we'll have an amazing season. And then as a follow-up, who do you think is actually most likely to win the season from here?
Wait, what was the first question? I didn't understand.
Okay, so who would be the most exciting person to have win the season? Like if blank wins the season, we're definitely going to have an incredible season. And then the second half, who do you actually think is going to win?
Ooh.
I think if Jade wins, we're gonna have an exciting fucking season. Or honestly,
Fair.
Toaster. And I think that's a controversial opinion.
That would
I
be
think
great.
a Toaster win would be very exciting because it's like his first org, so we'd have another Boofus-esque win. And I think he'd just be fucking entertaining as hell because he's a character in and of himself. If he used his fucking confessionals more. But yeah, he'd be. But I'm leaning more towards Jade. Who do I think is gonna win? I'm thinking Nay, honestly. Nay has a very good shot.
I feel like my thoughts on that are probably a little bit flipped. And honestly, probably mostly just because I would love to see Nay win. So I feel like it would be an exciting season if Nay won. But I do agree with like the Toaster angle. I think that would be pretty iconic and it would speak a lot to like that arc that I was talking about earlier. If he could find his way out of the whole sheepish looking thing and actually get a win, that would be kind of dope. As long as it's not like a goat and bitter jury win, that wouldn't be fun.
I'm so sorry.
I
Can I just add to mine real quick?
Answer.
I just want to say the reason that I want that I think Jade would be an exciting win is because we have not had a villain win Villain Viper yet. So I would like a villain to win Villain Viper. Like, yeah, okay.
I was gonna say that I was with you on Toaster. I think you said pretty well everything that I would say with Toaster, with Nay, especially because Nay. I don't want to say that because we were talking about how, especially with Tara, the comp beast thing, but yeah, Nay has shown that beast side, but yeah, I agree with Jade being the most, like, it would be the most entertaining one to win the whole.
Wait,
And then
sorry.
I would say
Carlos never said who they think is going to win.
No, I'm with you on that on A. I agree with you, but the Toaster between Toaster and Jade thing, I said, yeah, I agree with you that everything practically, and that's that.
Honestly,
I'm going to say that it would be an incredible season to have if Iris ends up winning this. Like, I agree with some of the other picks there, but I also just think, like, the season where Iris wins is just going to be completely nuts. And I think that would absolutely be amazing to see as well. But I agree. I have Nay as my first pick to win right now. I think Nay is just positioned so well has been playing so well, has connections with almost everybody left in the game at this point. Like, I feel like Nay is in a really good position to not be the top threat in the game visibility wise, and other
Mhm.
people will get picked off in front of her. And like the spots will just open up right there for Nay to find her way to the end. And she's super well liked too. Like Nay is the player to beat in this season right now.
I have to say, okay, another one of the main reasons I feel like I would love to see Nay win is also because like she's Black. You don't see a lot of Black winners in orgs, so I would be thrilled. And also because she's eating, like not only is she Black, but she's eating. She's doing her shit. And then I didn't say who I think is winning at the time. Right now, I don't know if I can predict who would win right now. Like, I feel like I don't feel like any of these players are super predictable. And I don't know, some people might agree, some people might disagree, but I feel like none of the players that we have right now are super predictable. And I feel like even if we feel like they're predictable, all of them have like the ability to just do something, and I'll like look up and read something one day and be like, wait a minute, what's happening and why, like, and just be confused. And it be like a good type of confusion, not like, oh, like what the fuck are you doing, but like more so of a what y'all got going on, like what's spicing up over here. So I feel like to like say who I think would like be winning right now, I can't even tell you. I can't even tell you because I feel like there's so many different ways that this could happen. And this could all go down. So
With that being
I understand. This cast has been amazing. So it's like almost every episode, it's a hard elimination to watch and everything. It's just been an amazing season so far. Even with its lows, I think like they at least are entertaining to watch how it unfolds.
with all of this being said, can we just talk about how the Femmes are fucking killing this season? The boys are flopping, of
yes.
course, but the Femmes are killing it.
Yes. The
Let's
boys
give a round of applause for the Femmes.
boys are sheep and goats. Come
Go
on.
Femmes.
Yes. Yes, Femmes.
Yeah, we just see what like all of the people we talked about as people who we either want to win or think are winning. Like it's Iris, it's Jade, it's Roman, it's Nay. Like exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So Dolly, they
Wiki has been waiting for a while to speak.
Yeah, let's go ahead and open up to our caller on line number 1, who has been waiting patiently on line number 1 while we talk. So Wiki, why don't we come on and bring you to the stage?
Yes, give it up for Wiki.
Oh my gosh, I'm such a big fan. Oh my gosh. No, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, I need to take one.
Welcome. Feel free to introduce
Oh,
yourself.
I'm sorry. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I can't believe I'm here. Oh my gosh. Oh my
I
god, I'm
hope
shaking
everything's
right now.
okay, but
Oh
I
my
just don't think it's
gosh.
fair for you to be here if you're not in the game.
I hope everything's okay, but I just don't think it's fair for you to be here if you're not in the game. No, because period. Okay,
blow,
so
blow at
hi.
the bottom of your TV and listen to us only from the phone. No one will get that joke. Besides Brazilians.
Slay. Hi everyone, I'm Wakita. I have a question about something you guys said earlier.
Are we about to get
And I was
canceled?
no.
No, right?
So can y'all speak a little bit about who y'all thought deserved best confessional?
Jet?
Jet.
Yeah,
Okay.
Jet. Like
Can
right now,
you
it's
touch
Jet.
on that a little bit?
I mean, have you read Jet's confessionals?
Mm-hmm.
You disagree?
I mean, I
I've
don't know.
been here for
Let's
2
ask
hours, so I was
Adam.
scrolling through all of them. Listen, I just want to disclose that there is a secondary contender from what I have seen.
Who do you
And I'm
think?
just going to pull some of my notes up here. From Nate Baby, we have I want to explode. I'm tired of this motherfucker. Why don't you come and pick up your damn kids? Like, I don't even have plans this evening. I think that solely took the cake for me this season. And then also there was a moment yesterday at 1:30 p.m. where Nate Baby also said, y'all bitches need to stop buying shit.
It's the
And
one
I
thing.
really,
Yeah.
I really agree. So I think that y'all should take that into consideration when picking Best Confessionals because yes, it's very organized and beautiful in Jeff's confessional.
Well, we
But
haven't chosen a best confessionalist yet. However, we were pointing out that Jet's confessionals were
Yeah,
a
exactly.
hypothetically, as a
specific
viewer,
masterpiece.
I'm drawn away from Jeff's confessional because it's in so many different fonts and shit. And that's not my cup of tea. But I do really appreciate the effort that Jeff put in, and that's really like what we look for in a good confessional when we're spectators, right? But the fact that Nate Baby was dogging on her baby daddy in the fucking confessional chat, it just takes the cake for me because like it's like their diary. I don't know their
Here.
pronouns.
I do love how she brings in that element of
She-
like real life. You know, she's like, it's like we're like watching a
Yes, like
reality
it's
Yeah.
very
TV show.
real. There's no
Yeah.
fakeification. Right. It's given like she's sitting there smoking a fucking pack of Newports and she's smacking the fucking pack on her hand.
That's a
And she's like
Newport.
and she's smacking the pack on her hand and she's like, I'm tired of this motherfucker. Why can't you come and pick up your damn kids? Like she has a org to play and he hasn't come and pick up the kids. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just a level of realism that she is bringing to the table that a lot of bitches can't touch, and that's just what I wanted to speak about, as well as Wims being robbed.
Wait,
But
Wiki,
I will say Wims is not
I
really
just want
given in
to
the
say,
confessional. Yeah,
what I'm disappointed in Nay about is that in her interview, she gave us video confessionals where she was
Mhm.
smoking weed and rambling
Yeah.
about real life and the game.
Yes.
And like talking about these bitches ain't shit.
Yeah, we need
Uh,
These
those.
bitches ain't
where the
shit.
baby's
I have to go
crying,
take care
where
of
the
my
baby's
kids,
crying in the
and we're
background.
not getting any of that. I'm disappointed.
Yeah, we need the
But
video confessionals. We need the video confessionals.
Can I please see those?
No, they're
Are they
not
like
public.
public?
We
I'm
make them.
crying.
I mean, unless she makes
Yeah,
it
we
to
make them public
FCC.
for the
Okay.
top for the final 3.
I personally don't believe she'll be making FTC just because I think she has a lot of personality and that can be outshone by people that are very strategic. They don't like competing against personalities. There are people in Survivor orgs that are just fully Survivor orging, whereas there are people like Nay Baby that take it to a whole nother level. And it like I just love that kind of person because that's very like it's very like I loved reading Gabriel's confessional in not only Ladviver but also fuck what's the other one called?
Essential.
Um
Oh yeah.
Misty orgs. And then Casual. Those were all like that's what I look for because you're just talking out your ass and shit and you're just posting screenshots. I love that shit. I really appreciate the level of effort that Jet put in. But it's like the fonts and shit I just can't get into. I love Jet though. Heart emoji. Also just Wims being robbed is kind of sick. Wims is such a beautiful person and pre-jury is not something I see for
Wims
future
has never made
going
merge, I
forward.
believe.
That's really sick.
That shit is actually very
I wish that
sick.
Wims put in the effort that she puts into game chat into orgs because the way she be going hard and like making friends and shit, I wish she would apply that to org shit. Because I'm looking at all these damn trust ratings and shit, and nobody was fucking with her.
Yeah,
Like poor
Boof
girl.
is-
Yeah,
It
it's
was.
just
It
like
wasn't that Wims wasn't putting in the effort,
Yeah.
though. I feel that's what we talked a little bit about that earlier. It was. That wasn't even on Wims. Like Wims was in it.
Well,
Yeah.
Boofus brought
Wims
this
was-
up in
Wims
the
was-
last podcast too, or the cast assessment one,
Yeah.
where some people are great at VCing and they are VC players. And I think Wims is
Right.
a VC player, but she is a little insecure about her accent. So like I know I
That's
love her
the
accent,
best part.
but
This bitch
I
throws
know,
down.
but so
This
she
bitch
doesn't
throws
VC a
down.
lot, but she thrives on VC. She's so personable on VC. Like, so I think if she did open herself up
Right.
and like VC'd with people, it would really help her social game. But
I think if you put the game chat bitches into like one season,
well,
it
we
would
had
be a whole
Wims,
different
we had
experience.
Looking,
It
and
would
we had
go crazy.
Tara. Barney also applied, but we didn't put him
See,
in.
but those are three very separate entities. I understand the connect between Tara and Wims just being like, you know, like the dolls. Like those are the dolls, right? And Looking fits into that because there's like the familiarity and like the recognition of each other and just things of that nature. But like Wims really needs to put her ass in a voice chat because that bitch, it's beyond just the little VC. It's like this bitch has such a big personality and she just doesn't type out. I mean, she be making PowerPoints to have bitches laughing. We don't even know what the fuck is going on. This bitch put a PowerPoint about her real life shit that we had no fucking
That
clue
was a
what was
beautiful
happening.
PowerPoint.
But no, and it's like if she would put that amount of effort into just like, you know, DMs or something, I feel like that bitch could have won the season. That's why I had so much faith in her, but I haven't seen her interact with the people
I mean,
outside of the game yet.
there are people who would have wanted to save her. Like if she ended up on a tribe with Iris or
Yeah.
Jade, she would have been in a much better spot. Like
The
Yeah.
dolls are the dolls. The dolls are the dolls, and
Tara
that'll
would have
always
saved her
reign
because
true.
Tara is
But
metagaming,
you know.
whether she realizes it or not. But
yeah, I mean, it's hard not to when you have like such
Yeah.
deep connections to people.
yeah, I
But
just mentioned Iris and Jade because like they both said something in their confessional. I don't have the confessionals open right now, but they both like seemed really sad that Wims went out. So like I feel
yeah,
like they would have tried to save her.
yeah, I read Tara's about. I'm honestly just keeping up with my draft now that it's in shambles, but you know, I always look at the she hers, the she theys, the they thems, and sometimes the he theys.
I don't
But
think we have any.
you know, I'm just rooting for the dolls this
I don't
season.
think we have
I'm
any
rooting for the
Hebrews this
dolls.
season.
Yeah, but I'm
Oh,
talking
yeah,
about
yeah.
just in general. I never read a he
You
him's
read
confessional.
my confessionals.
I was gonna say you read Gabriel.
Am I not a real
But that's
he him?
because
Am I
you're my
not a
brother.
man? Are
It's
you?
different.
Are you
You're
transphobic?
family. You're family.
Oh my god, you think I'm a woman?
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
Gabriel said I
I'm
want to be a
transphobic.
woman.
Nimki is
I
a
wanna be
he
a
any.
real boy. Oh,
That's
God.
right now. I'm like literally. Huh?
Nimki
Yeah,
is
but
a
Nikki
he
didn't
any
give
this season.
confessionals, so
Oh.
it
Okay.
doesn't count.
True.
I read Nimki's and I was like I was bored. No shade. Sorry, Nimki. Heart emoji.
He probably couldn't do confessionals because he's 14.
That
Oh,
that
that's
was
right.
interesting. But
Yeah, that's right.
like
But
Nimki's
between
confessional is
like
just, like
his
our
brain and his
conversation.
keyboard was the Six Flags sign.
Girl. Also, who did the gifts for like the
Boofus.
episodes this season?
Boofus.
Yeah, he killed it.
So good. So good. Shout out to Boofus. But yeah, that's all I really had to say.
Thank you for coming on.
All right. Well, it's been a pleasure having you on the stage, Vicky.
Thank you so much. And to all the people listening out there, stream Tori Kelly's new album coming out very soon. It'll be an R&B album, and you were not going to want to miss it. Mwah.
It's so sick. Thanks, Vicky. Bye.
All right. Any other closing thoughts that anyone has to share at this point?
Not that I can think of.
Me neither.
All right. With that, we thank all of you, whether you've been listening to us as part of our loyal audience right here in the server, whether you're listening to this right now on our YouTube channel, or whether you're hearing this somewhere else through some other posted recording, if we end up using some other software in the future. But this has been another episode of the Villain Viver podcast covering season 5, episodes 4, 5, and 6. So until next time, this has been
Gabriel.
Carlos.
Goodbye.
And Elk. So we'll hear from all of you and be right back in your ears next week as we cover the next part of our
Bye.
season.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh, and Wiki. Bye.
Harm, are you doing the bot? Okay.
Yeah, I had to channel.
This ending is always so like, okay, who's next? Who's next? Who's going to say the next?